Good day, students. In today's class, we shall be dealing with three important components of nephrotic syndrome, and it is dealt as part 2. The important subjects and the question mode are given here. Membranous glomerulonephritis can be asked as a short note or it can be part of an essay. It is also called membranous nephropathy, and it is a major cause of nephrotic syndrome in adults, whereas lipoid nephrosis is common in children. In this condition, we find electron-dense immunoglobulin containing deposits on the epithelial side of the basement membrane. What do I mean by this? You find that this is a capillary in which I have got an epithelium, the basement membrane, and the pink colored endothelium. And this is the capillary lumen. Whereas in this, I find it is a case of membranous nephropathy, and I find that the epithelial cell has beneath it spikes of deposits of immunoglobulin. So it is described as subepithelial deposits of immunoglobulin in the basement membrane. And this is the mesangium incidentally. This is a very nice diagram. I would like you people to develop a concept. Again, a glomerulus with a capillary, the epithelium and the endothelium, this is the mesangium. A higher magnification of the same. The gray color is the basement membrane and the yellow color part of the endothelium. The green is the epithelium. There can be some antigens which are planted or implanted in the subepithelial region. And there can be antibodies which are produced in our body. They together form a complex. The antigen antibody complex, also called the immune complex. And these get deposited in the subepithelial region of the basement membrane, leading to a membranous glomerulonephritis or glomerulopathy. What are the common causes for it? The most common is supposed to be idiopathic, that is, we do not know the cause. But it can be genetic and it is associated with either HLA-DR3 or HLA-DR2. And some chronic antigen antibody disease can also predispose to membranous glomerulonephritis. There is a deposition of the circulating immune complexes in this case. And in certain other cases, you find the pathogenesis is somewhat similar to the Hayman nephritis. Hayman nephritis is in between the cells, you will be finding the deposits of complexes of antigen antibody. Once this is there, there is inflammation and the damage. Please do not miss this cause. This is an abbreviation that I had designed myself. M for membranous nephropathy, M for malignancy, most commonly in the lung and the colon. M, most common in adults. M for malaria, M for metabolic disorders such as diabetes, M for medicine such as penicillamine or captopril. So many M's are there. I is idiopathic. This is the most common. S for SLE, S for salts, inorganic salts. So these will be the causes. Please try to memorize this mnemonic. Grossly, you find it is a bilateral disease. The kidneys are large, swollen, and pale, but the features are generally non-specific. Microscopically, what we can see is only a diffuse thickening of the capillary wall. Whereas using an electron microscope, we will be able to identify irregular dense deposits between the basement membrane and the epithelial cells. So this is normal. Compare it with this. I find that there are electron dense deposits in the subepithelial region of the basement membrane. This is a beautiful diagram that you people should improvise in your answers. And this is the electron microscopic picture. The epithelial cells outside, this is a capillary, and this is the endothelium that is lining it. In between, I've got the basement membrane. On the epithelial side, there are electron dense deposits which are found irregularly. So there are dense deposits. The basement membrane material is found spiking in between the deposits. And this can be better demonstrated by silver stains. Immunofluorescence will be showing granular deposits. I shall be showing you a picture of it later. Please draw this one. I had already explained, and look at the deposits at the basement membrane in the subepithelial region. This disease is progressive. In the early stages, I find that there is some interrupted deposits, and slowly you find that they are being engulfed by the basement membrane. And finally, it is almost in the middle of the basement membrane with normal membrane on either side. And towards the end, it is totally covered with the basement membrane, so much so I cannot see the deposits. So these are the progresses of the membranous glomerulonephritis. What do we see by light microscopy? There is a thickening of the basement membrane, and there is a narrowing of the capillary lumen. This is a capillary, and I find that there is a thickening, narrowing of the lumen. And there is a sclerosis. Sclerosis means some kind of fibrosis of the mesangium. The blue arrow, it points to the sclerosis of the mesangium. Hyaline droplets can be seen in the tubules, and in general, there can be fibrosis and scarring of the kidney. So it is important, please remember. Thickening of the basement membrane, narrowing of the capillaries, sclerosis of the mesangium, hyaline droplets, and scarring of the kidney. And this is the granular deposit that I had mentioned. I find that there are granular deposits in the subepithelial region. This is an immunofluorescence. Here also I find some granular deposits. So that's what we see in this picture. Are you able to see a number of these granular deposits? Fine. And what will be the manifestation of this disease? There is a proteinuria. Massive proteinuria, that is a component of nephrotic syndrome. Hypertension, hematuria, glomerulosclerosis or fibrosis, and later on renal insufficiency. The complications will be nephrotic syndrome as it is, hematuria, hypertension, renal failure, renal vein thrombosis. This is one of the important manifestations in a nephrotic syndrome. The next topic for the day will be membranoproliferative glomerulonephritis. This also is asked as an independent question or part of an essay. There are two major types of deposits. One will be a subendothelial deposit, and two will be a mesangial dense deposit disease, DDD. So, what are the types of membranoproliferative glomerular disease? And look at this one. This is a normal picture which I want you people to appreciate. This is the epithelium with the foot processes. This is the basement membrane, and this is the endothelium. And in this, there is a dark area which is called the densa, lamina densa. On either side, there are the paler areas which are called the lamina rara externa and the lamina rara interna. And you find that there will be some amount of collagen over here. What happens is there will be a granular deposit in a case of membranoproliferative glomerulonephritis. And in sometimes you find that the mesangial process can be in the densa, which I will be showing you by a diagram. And type 3 is both subepithelial and subendothelial deposits can be seen. So type 1 is C3 granular, type 2 is mesangial, type 3 is subepithelial and subendothelial. So this is a normal capillary. I am not finding any dark line over here. Whereas in this is the mesangium, and you find that this is the epithelium or the endothelium rather. Subendothelial region, there is a black deposit that is formed. Immune complex that is demonstrated by means of the silver stain. An electron microscope also shows beneath the endothelium a subendothelial immune complex. This is type 1. So type 1, it is limited to the subendothelial region. Look at this picture, it is type 2, and here you find that there is an extension and it goes in between this. So almost the middle of the basement membrane. As a result of which, so this is the electron dense deposit. There is a normal basement membrane, both inner and outer to it. So this is called the dense deposit disease. In the light microscopy, it is called as mesangiocapillary proliferation. After all, the glomerulus is supposed to be a tuft of capillaries, and I find a lot of them are there because it is proliferating. And the dark blue areas are the mesangium, and that is also multiplying. And hence it is called mesangiocapillary proliferation. Both are shown by means of the arrows. Later on, if it is untreated, it can go in for some kind of fibrosis. The entire thing is sclerosed and there is obliteration of the lumen. This is called mesangiosclerosis. So what happens is whenever there is a dense deposit in the middle of the basement membrane, I find that there will be on either side, the subepithelial side as well as the subendothelial side, the deposits can be seen, which are demonstrated by means of the silver stain. It is called the tram track appearance or the railway track appearance. So this is a typical example. I can ask you people to please denote this. So beautiful diagram from Robbins, again a recollection. In type 1, there is a subendothelial side. Endo means inside, subendothelial. And in type 2, I find that there will be a dense deposit disease right in the middle. And there is a normal basement membrane on either side. What is the pathogenesis? It can be because of activation of the alternate complement pathway. It is a long flow chart, but we shall remember these words alone. Alternate complement pathway is activated and there is a utilization of the complement. Therefore, there is a decrease in serum C3 of the complement. The complement is deposited and properdin along with it in the basement membrane. And the patients have got a C3 NEF factor in the serum. This can be asked as an MCQ. This probably is the culprit that propagates the disease. C3 NEF in the serum. And the course of the disease will be nephrotic syndrome, development of crescents. Crescents are arc-like structures that are formed in the periphery of the glomerulus. It can lead to rapidly progressive glomerulonephritis and finally a renal failure. This is a summary of the entire thing. I would like you people to kindly memorize it. For example, in today's class, we had seen membranoproliferative glomerulonephritis. And in that, there will be a nephrotic syndrome, hematuria. Patient can end up with renal failure. There will be immune complexes and activation of the alternate complement pathway. And the basement membrane is split. And there is also a mesangial proliferation. A tram track appearance can be seen. And in electron microscope, there can be subendothelial or subepithelial or both can be seen. So this is the way you people should read. I would like you people to kindly revise. Lipoid nephrosis, for example, loss of the foot processes, both fluorescent microscope as well as light microscope are negative because nothing is seen. So kindly memorize this particular tablet column. It will be a summary of the entire nephrotic syndrome. The last one for the day is focal segmental glomerulonephritis. So in this, there is sclerosis of some glomeruli, not all. That is why it is called as segmental. And only part of the glomerulus is involved. So it is called as focal and segmental. The cause can be idiopathic. It can be superimposed on another glomerular disease such as IgA nephropathy. We had seen that in the last class. And it can be secondary to heroin abuse or AIDS. The features are similar to minimal change disease, but the proteinuria is more severe. It is non-selective. It does not respond to the steroids. Whereas in minimal change disease, it responds well to steroids. It has got a good prognosis. Here, it goes in for a chronic glomerulonephritis, and both IgM and C3 can be found in the mesangium. Light microscopy, as mentioned earlier, only a few glomeruli are involved. Only part of a glomerulus is involved, and hence it is called focal segmental. Some proteins are entrapped in the sclerosed mesangium. There can be hyalinization of the capillaries. Just like minimal change, there is a loss of the foot process, but in addition, you find that there can be denudation of the epithelial cells. Denudation means damage, and you find that they are removed. And immunofluorescence will be showing IgM and C3 deposits. Regarding the progress of the disease, there is no spontaneous remission. It does not respond to steroids, and it can go in for a malignant focal sclerosis. That is, rapidly there is a sclerosis of the entire glomerulus and results in renal failure. I hope you people have understood this. Each one is a thing I would like you to kindly read the master tabular column. Blagadharju Vas.